my next guest is a former Cosby Show kid, and now he's back on primetime as a surgeon in the Fox drama The Resident. Please welcome Emmy-nominated actor and Image Award winner, Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Hello, Malcolm.
Hey, Claudia, how you doing?
I'm good, but why do you still look the same too? It's like the Fountain of Youth night. You
I'm
still,
holding on. Hey,
like,
love, I'm holding
seriously.
on.
All
Living,
right.
I think part of it is living right. You know,
Mhm.
I'd like to believe part of that, and just kind of, being very mindful of taking care of the self and the temple. I know that sounds
I-
corny, but
It doesn't.
it is what it is.
I like for real, grew up watching you though. Not that we're like much a big difference in age, but it's just okay. All right. So, how did you spend your holiday season in 2020? Were you away from everybody? Were you able to see your family?
No, I've been here in Atlanta. We shoot in Atlanta, and when we shut down production end of season three, our daughter was 2 years old, so we weren't getting back on the plane to go back to LA. So we've literally been in Atlanta for about a year and a half straight. So the holidays, we didn't do any traveling. My mother-in-law came to visit for a couple of weeks, so we got a little break. But it was real low key and real family oriented.
So you posted the cutest New Year's picture with your little girl. Tell us about this photo of your family and how you brought in 2020. That's so cute.
Yeah, we literally brought in 2021 at Club Quarantine. We got that in uh,
Mhm.
with D Nice. And like I said, everything else we just we were laid back at home, home cooking and hunkered down, safe.
Well, we've got some YouTube comments for you. Keisha says Malcolm was my first crush. Levon says Theo. Everyone, I mean, of course, we all knew you from that, but you've
Sure,
done so
no
much
doubt.
more now. Of course, your fans love what you do on screen, but off screen, you've been politically active on social media. Let's take a look.
Doesn't mean anything, but if people are going to such great lengths to suppress it, it must have some power. Go vote.
Do you think voting was more important this time around than when Obama ran for office?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think the voter turnout was very significant in the support for Obama, but the turnout this time around, I mean, is really the fate of our country was really at the hands of this last election, and not that
Can you believe it?
what are you gonna say?
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead and finish.
Oh, no, I was going to say that not that Biden and Harris being in office is overnight going to change the country, but I think their administration is definitely going to put the country back on course at least.
Are you as disappointed as I am that there's still this many people that are voting for against their interests, for the negativity, that want more of the same? Like, you would think it's not like, doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize the last 4 years have not been beautiful.
Yeah,
A small percentage of people have actually benefited from it.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's interesting because there's I mean, there's this whole theory about what Trump represents to a lot of white people, and there's a certain faction of white people whose whiteness is so tied into being better than uh, others, and sexual orientation, gender, races, and I think what Trump represents for a lot of those people is when they want to talk about freedoms, the freedom to say what you want to say, the freedom, not to have to be politically correct, the freedom to, again, uphold their whiteness, you know, against and better than everyone else. So I think, and living in the South, like you see a lot of that because I'm I spend my time in, metropolitan cities, LA, New York, Chicago. But being in Georgia, which is, even though it is a blue state, there's still very much that red mentality. So I think, Obama being in office really opened up our eyes to how a lot of white people think about people of color. But Trump being in office in these last 4 years has given people so much freedom to, be free with how they really feel. And seeing how close this election was, we see how half of America really feels.
It's disheartening because I guess I was under the impression that we were kind of getting away from that, but it seems like with the, the pick of the next president, the last president, it's just like, wow, we really weren't as far along as I thought. So I just want to kind of touch up on that. So your TV mom, Phylicia Rashad, just joined social media via Instagram and Twitter. Now, does she still give you motherly advice, and do you help her with her Instagram?
No, I don't. I'm not the one helping her with her Instagram. I'm not sure who her social media team is, but I was very pleased to see her get on the Instagram platform. But in terms of advice, Phylicia and I definitely keep in contact. And interestingly enough, we had I was kind of going through something a couple of months ago, and spent a good deal of time on the phone with her. And she just imparted, just so much of her beautiful energy and spirit and wisdom that helped me a lot, actually.
I love that you all still have a real relationship after the fact, because some people just go to a job and they leave and that's it. But
yeah, but our experience, and I think it's with everyone on the show. There's some people who I talk to more than others, but even the ones I don't talk to as often, whenever we make contact, we just pick up where we left off. And I think we've all had a certain experience on that show that bonds us forever. And it was a wonderful journey for us all and a really wonderful experience, but it's a shared experience that's so unique to us that like I said, it's a bond there that's really unbreakable.
So you're spending a lot of time in Atlanta shooting your show The Resident, and a while back you caught up with your TV sister Keshia and Pulliam. Is it hard to believe it's been almost 40 years since the Cosby Show debuted? 40 years.
It's bananas. It's crazy. But I'm so proud of Keshia. I just think, just based on her experience, she is one of the most well-adjusted, young people who has literally been on television her entire life. I'm so proud of, the way she carries herself and in her journey into womanhood and motherhood. That's my little homie.
And I believe she just got engaged, so congratulations to her on her engagement.
Brad.
So we're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned for more Out Loud on Fox Soul when we return. Welcome back to Out Loud with Claudia Jordan. I'm here with actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Now, Malcolm, you were barely a teenager when you landed your first big series, The Cosby Show. And last year, you turned 50. What did you learn during those early acting years that still help you today?
Wow. I think so much of what I learned during that period has led me to where I am now. Mm-hmm. In that, when the show first hit, I remember that the numbers were like incredible, out the gate. Mm-hmm. And, my mom sat me down. I was 14, and my mom sat me down and said, listen, baby, it's great that this show is the phenomenon that it is, but you know how this business is. This show could be over next year. What are you going to do when the show's over? She said, I can type. I can always get a job, but what are you going to do? And, we talked a lot about longevity, and she really impressed upon me the importance of longevity. And when you have longevity, there are going to be periods where you are hot and periods when you are not. And she's like, so you have to decide what you're going to do during those periods where you're not hot, so you don't have to make desperate career choices. And I think that's something that's really, has really helped me really, through today even. And being on the show, people would always ask me, and as a teenager, people would always ask me, well, what's it like, being so successful? And even at 15, my theory was, well, even though I'm on a successful show, doesn't mean that I'm successful. And even as a teenager, I felt, until I'm 40, 50, 60 years old and still working consistently, only then can I look back at a career and say, I've had a successful career. So I'm kind of in that place now. Like, I was like, oh, damn, I'm 50. but I'm also at a point where I can finally feel comfort in being able to embrace that, yeah, I've had a successful career. There's still a lot more road to go, but I'm happy to have not made that where are they now list.
So I have another question about. Once I interviewed one of your castmates and I called her by her character name and she got very offended, right? I'm not gonna put her on blast. So how do you respond when your fans call you Theo?
I always correct them and remind them that my name is Malcolm. And that's something I've always done. Even again at the height of Cosby, when I was signing autographs and people like put Theo, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to put Theo because one, I'm not Theo, and I'm not going to be. There's so much life and career that I'm going to have beyond Theo that I'm not going to get tied into that, and I'm not going to let you put me in that in that box. So I think sometimes people it may come off, and again, I don't know the interview, I don't know who you're talking about, but I know sometimes people can be taken aback when you correct them. But at some point, it's like, well, you know my name, so I happen to like my name, so it's like call me by my name. But I have to say though,
sometimes fans are just so excited, like that's such a big deal of our growing.
Yeah, so I get that. So having said that, right, I was out somewhere and I ran into Curtis Baldwin, right, from 227. And I know Curtis, like, when we were younger, we hung out a couple of times. So like, I know Curtis, but it's been a couple of years and I saw him, I was like, yo, Calvin. I was like, oh, wow. It's that easy.
It is.
So it's that, so I get it. And that's why there's no offense taken. But also it's like, well, don't take offense when I remind you that my name is Malcolm and I would prefer to be called Malcolm.
Respect. And I get it. It makes sense. And thanks for explaining it like that, because I think I can see it from both sides. I can see it from the fan being excited, and that's the first thing that comes to mind. And I can also see it as the actor that's like, okay, but that's one of my characters and I'm me.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your former TV dad, Bill Cosby. We all know the controversy. We don't have to get into that. I'm not here to ask you about your thoughts on that if you don't want to talk about that. But have you spoken to him?
Not since he not since he went. I have contact with him through his assistant, but I'm not talking personally.
Got it. Okay. I was wondering how he's doing. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
So
from all accounts, everything that that I'm being told, I'm told he's doing all right.
Okay. One of your hit shows, Malcolm and Eddie, showcased not only your acting talent, but your directing skills as well. When did you decide you wanted to work behind the camera as well?
I knew that early on. I mean, that kind of came out of the conversation I had with my mother at 14. She was like, you got to decide, what you're going to do when the show's over. So I started directing early on. I was directing Cosby. When I left the show, I had directed about 6 episodes of Cosby. I was doing music videos, special ed, new edition. So I had been directing, once Cosby was over, I was doing a lot of directing for Nickelodeon, Sesame Street, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So the directing had really always been part of my thing. Is one of the things that's always kept me working in between acting gigs.
Okay. And now you are a cardiothoracic surgeon named AJ Austin on The Resident. Now, for those who have not seen the show, tell us about your role.
Well, The Resident it's a medical drama, and it's a medical drama that is not afraid to tackle head on issues with the medical industry, i.e. We deal a lot with hospital screw-ups and hospital cover-ups. So it's a standout show in that regard because we actually deal with real life malpractice issues and how those things get covered up. My character, Dr. AJ Austin, is one of the best cardiothoracic surgeons in the country. And with that has a very strong bravado, arrogance, brashness, really doesn't care. He's going to be direct. He's going to tell you the truth, but really doesn't care what you think of him. And that's always, it's such a great character for me to play because it's like I get to play a guy who I don't allow myself to be in real life.
Well, let's take a look. The season starts next week, the new season. So the show is taking on stories that reflect today's pandemic crisis. So let's take a look at The Resident.
58-year-old with a simple bulging disc. We're in the midst of the single most devastating public health crisis of our lifetimes. Barrett, you can't be doing surgeries that don't need to be done. You put a patient at risk of getting COVID.
Oh, I love it. I love medical dramas. We have comments from the YouTube channel. Tevin says, I love watching The Resident. And Kylie says, this is such a great show. Before we go to break, what's it like to play a doctor on the front lines of this COVID outbreak?
It's an honor because we get a chance to pay homage to, the real healthcare frontline workers out there. And I have a very dear friend who is a trauma surgeon in LA. She works out of 3 different hospitals, and on a daily basis, she's interacting with COVID patients and having to deal with COVID deaths. So I really think it's an honor, and we're all proud to be able to, properly and positively rep for the frontline healthcare workers out there.
Love it. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So we're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned for more Out Loud with Claudia Jordan when we return. Welcome back to Out Loud. I'm joined by Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Make sure you check out his show, The Resident. The new season starts next week. I was asking you off camera how tricky it is to get the medical terminology in your script. And what's the most tricky term you had to say, if you can remember?
I can tell you the most recent trickiest term I had was chronic thromboembolic pulmonary hypertension. And I was stuck with that line. I had to say that term at least 4 times in the episode.
Oh my God. Yeah. Do you know what it is?
I used to.
Okay, I'm not gonna put you on the spot.
Yeah, but like everything, it goes in my brain until I need it, and then when I'm done with using it, it goes out so I can make room for the next script.
I'm saying, as an actor, I'm sure you have to keep some space on your disc.
Yeah, true.
So Malcolm, before we go, I'd like to play a little game called Name That Huxtable. I'll give you a real life trivia question, and you'll have to guess the person correctly. Hint: all the answers will be one of the actors from your Huxtable family. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's start with an easy one. This actress is Debbie Allen's sister in real life. Can you guess?
Okay. Lisa Bonet? Phylicia Rashad.
Of course. Okay, which actress starred alongside Will Smith in the 1998 movie Enemy of the State?
Lisa Bonet.
All right. This actress recently, we already said this one. This actress recently got engaged to actor
Keshia. Oh, geez. Yeah.
Last year, one of your co-stars revealed that they have never spent any of the money they've made on The Cosby Show. Who was it?
Say what now?
She said, this actress, one of your co-stars said she never spent any of the money she made from The Cosby Show. Ooh, do we have you stumped?
Yeah. I don't know. Tempest? I don't know. Raven?
Raven, rich ass Simone.
Rich. Okay, got it.
Last one. This actor from The Cosby Show won a Grammy Award in 2015. Who is it?
He's got two thumbs and he goes like this.
Very good. Very good. I didn't know you won a Grammy.
Yeah, with Robert Glasper and Layla Hathaway.
Wow.
In 2015 for the song called Jesus Children. It's a Stevie Wonder remake, Jesus Children of America. And,
any plans for any more music?
Yeah, I'm working on this fourth record it was kind of my quarantine record. But with a 3-year-old who runs the house, when your daughter is like, Papa, don't play bass, come play with me. You kind of go, okay, the bass will be there. My daughter's not going to be 3 forever. So I'm still working on the music steadfastly because it's such a big part of what I do. And when 2020 first started, I had like 3-4 gigs beginning of 2020. So just when 2020 looked like it was gonna be a year that I was gonna be able to be out and be a bass player again, all hell broke loose.
Of course. And one last thing before we go. Any plans for Valentine's Day?
Oh, geez. Not yet. Hadn't thought about that yet.
If your woman's watching right now, you got to say, I'm working on it. I'm working on something big. Okay. Wink, wink.
All right.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Hyla Pratt and Malcolm-Jamal Warner for joining me tonight. Thank you so much. It's good to see you and catch up and talk to you about all you got going on. And I'm definitely going to support The Resident.